What's up, everybody? A Spirit with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the SKS podcast. I'm not sure if this is an episode or not. I guess it is. Pretty sure that they do episodes with podcasts, but whatever. So, today there's quite a bit for me to go over. But the biggest is going to be some schedule changes coming up. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the behind the scenes sort of rigmarole. I've been trying to look at ways to improve my channel and maximize my schedule and work on some projects and things that I'm working on in the background. And I'm noticing that I'm spending a ton of time recording episodes, more so than I would like. A lot of you are probably familiar with this predicament that I've been locked in before. It's when I cut my schedule back to essentially Space Engineers Elite and Stationeers, and that was like it, and I did 4 episodes a week. I'll probably be doing something similar here in the next week or so. I'm probably going to do it next week because I kind of wanted to give a final wrap-up type episode of things so that people that didn't watch my podcast or listen to the podcast, whatever, would be kind of aware, that it wasn't like I'm announcing I'm ending this series and then they never heard about it kind of thing, because it was all in the podcast type of thing. So I kind of wanted to do one more episode of everything that was not coming back, just so I could mention that in the actual episode so that people would be aware. And obviously I directed people back to the podcast, but, like I said, just in case there was somebody that only watched one series. So essentially it'll probably take effect next week, but I'm really, really, really cutting down. More so than I probably have ever done before. Because this time I'm purely looking at numbers. It's not really so much whether or not I liked a series or was even enjoying the series. But I'm really focusing on spending my time on what is actually succeeding, what is actually being viewed, what's really being absorbed type of thing. There's always a few people that, would tell me, I'll watch whatever, and, will comment on series and say, this is great, keep it going, blah, blah, blah. But when you look at the straight numbers, you can't always cater to a couple of people. You have to kind of look at what's the majority looking for. And surprisingly, some of it has shifted a little bit. It used to be that Elite Dangerous and, Space Engineers and stuff was just my number one hitters no matter what. And while the Inspiration series is still the number one thing, I don't know that will ever change. There's, specifically Elite has dropped very, very far in viewership. It used to be, again, my number 2 on my channel, and now it's not really performing very well, or at least it hasn't in the last couple of months. Some of that I contribute to my own ability as a video maker, and what I mean by that is the game itself, when you get to the higher level, tends, in my opinion, to be more grindy. When I first started, everything was new. We've never done any of this before. This is cool, this is cool, this is cool. When you start to where it's like, okay, I'm bounty hunting. I got this. And then you basically just keep bounty hunting to make money so that you can buy more ships, upgrade, and all that. It gets to where all you're doing is bounty hunting. The episodes start to blur together. They start kind of becoming the same thing. Part of that I do blame the game in a way, because the game itself is kind of grindy, which then perpetuates grindy videos, if that makes sense. Now, there are some people that's all they do is Elite, and so then they'll, make a ton of progress in between each episode. I've never been able to dive in that hard. To where it's played nothing but Elite for a week straight, all that kind of stuff. It's never really been my style. I've always enjoyed the game. It's always a fun, especially as a concept. The concept of the game is amazing. The developer's ability to actually make that concept a reality has been a little shakier. But I don't want to point finger. I hate throwing anybody under the bus on purpose, because I'm aspiring to become a developer myself at some point, and so I've seen the other side of the coin. I know how difficult it is to actually take a concept that's huge and make it doable and actually make it fun. So, with that said, I don't think Elite will be continuing, which is, again, I say it very heavy-hearted. It's not something that I would... some of the other ones, like 2 Point Hospital and things, I've done a couple episodes, you're like, it's not really doing that well, it's a fun game. But a lot of the comments were positive. Everyone's like, oh, this is hilarious and keep doing it. But when you're looking at just the raw numbers, it's just really not worth the time. So some of those I kind of write off. I'm like, it's not working. No big deal. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Elite's a tough one because I've had it on my channel for so long. I've even had people comment saying, it's like, that's why I like your channel, is because you're one of the only people that still does like a straight up Let's Play. And I kind of had to sit there and go, that's probably why, is because a lot of content creators go, I don't know what to do with this to make it interesting. So, and keep this in mind too, especially if you're a big diehard Elite fan. None of these changes that I'm making are going to be permanent, like, I'm never going back to... I bought the lifetime pass for better or for worse on Elite, so when they announce a couple of major things, or if they really throw out a game changer or something, I won't say that I wouldn't go back and pick it back up. But for now, it's just not really viable to keep doing, and it's a lot of time and effort for something that's not really yielding much of a result. So there is that, and I do hope you guys can bear with me for a while, because I'm at a very crucible type period, not only in my personal life but also in my career type thing with as YouTube and stuff and writing and all that type of stuff. I'm trying to find something that works, that lets me do what I want to do and sustains myself and keeps myself on 2 feet. And frankly, that last part hasn't really found its footing yet. I enjoy what I do on YouTube, and I enjoy writing and stuff. Well, I enjoy telling stories in terms of making worlds and characters and things. I can't say that writing novels is my favorite medium, but it is the least overheaded medium. For those of you that have any kind of interest in the business side of things, it's much easier to write a book than it is to, try and come up with a budget for an Avenger movie or try and make your own game or something. It's like, you basically need a word processor, time, and then at the very end, you'd need like editors and, book cover art people and stuff like that. But in terms of overall the process and the funds that are needed, it's a much more simple and less expensive process. Gaming, game development could be, it could even be less, truthfully, but it's a lot more time investment and a lot more stress and work and stuff, in my opinion. Now that is something I would like to do at some point. Caden Red Pearl and I have been working together for years on various different stories, universes, projects, etc. that all include games, movies, books, you name it. We've probably thought of putting our content in those mediums. And so, yeah, you'll probably see games from Sleepless Night Studios at some point in association with Caden or whatever company he's running at that point. But as far as right now, I think my book is probably going to be the thing that you'll see the soonest. I doubt you'll see a game from me for a little bit. Even if I were to start working on one, it still would, it would just take time. But that said, I've always enjoyed creating and making and doing and stuff like that when it came to making up your own universes and characters and storylines. And I truly feel like that's my calling in life. But as far as financial stability, I haven't really found something that has quite hooked yet. My channel is doing well, but not to a point where it's anywhere close to self-sustainability. I hope to change that with growing the channel. And with that said, I've been looking into, I'm taking a couple courses and things, and I'm looking into and researching on how to better understand the logistics of growing the channel. And that's part of what's causing this whole schedule change, is do what works, not just because you want to do it, but because you're actually seeing progress with it. So with all that kind of as a statement, an explanation, kind of a preparation for the actual bottom line, ripping the Band-Aid off, would be that I'm mostly going down to Space Engineers. The two that I'm not sure if they're going to stay or not yet is No Man's Sky and Stationeers. The two reasons being, No Man's Sky in the past has not been performing very well, although community-wise, everybody seems to enjoy it. View count-wise and stuff like that, it's not really there. However, by the time you're seeing this, I think, depending on when this goes live, my last episode was the one about finding the Star Destroyer freighter, and that one has gotten a considerably higher view count, even rivaling or overshadowing some of my Space Engineer stuff, which made me think, maybe I can keep this one. But I don't know if that's just because of the actual enticingness of the title, where it's like you're mentioning a Star Destroyer and you've got a cool thumbnail, that kind of thing, or, you know, if that's something sustainable, or was that a one-shot that happened to be a special episode because something really cool happened. So there is that. That I don't know if that's really sustainable or not. So like I said, I'm kind of doing a last episode on all of them just to double check my numbers to make sure. But I have a feeling No Man's Sky won't probably be sticking around as long as the numbers fall back off like I expect them to. If it stays in that bracket where it jumped up to, then I'm definitely keeping it. That's just a time will tell thing. Stationeers is a little bit more of a middle of the road. It's not quite as underperforming as some of the other series that I'm cutting, but it's also not up there with Space Engineers. So I don't really know what that one's doing. I'm not really sure what to make of that one. Also, comment interaction and stuff like that hasn't been that high lately, so I'm not too sure about Stationeers. So Stationeers may or may not stay. No Man's Sky will stay if the viewership is still there, but if it falls back off, I'll probably stop that one as well. So, but I'm noticing that since I started Season 5 of my Let's Play for Space Engineers, the viewership has shot up a lot over my last season and last episodes of that. Inspiration series always has done well. It's always been the highest grossing. I wish it was. Well, it probably is actually the highest grossing, but that's not saying a lot. Highest view count, let's put it that way, of my series thus far. So that one's no surprise, but the Let's Play and the Inspiration are the two things of Space Engineers I put out, and I mean, you guys can go on and look. I'm not making this kind of stuff up just to fit what I want. I mean, you can look at the view counts on my last week's worth of videos, and Space Engineers stands shoulders above the rest of my series. Now, I will say this, part of it is because my latest season of Space Engineers, I added mods and did other things that actually renewed my own interest in the series. I was kind of burned out on it. I wasn't really having fun with it. There was actually a point a few weeks ago, a few weeks ago, but could be close to being months now, that I was considering stopping Space Engineers on my channel because I didn't feel like I was having fun with it and the view counts were dropping and all that kind of stuff. But since I started Season 5 and I've added the new mods and I've been taking over ships and they've been more action-y and all this kind of stuff, we've been having more fun with the series, and so thus it's been doing better. So I think I'm going to focus on that for a while. And like I said, I hope you guys can bear with me because, like I said, I'm learning, I'm researching, and I'm taking some classes and things on how to better grow your brand and market yourself and get yourself seen and things like that. And so this is a very transitional period for both myself personally and my channel that I'm trying to kind of take a really hard look and go, look, what's working, what's not working, what do you need to do to make it better, that kind of thing. And so I hope you guys, as my viewers, subscribers, and so on, can understand that, even if I happen to be cutting things that you may be avid fans of. I hope you can kind of see it from my point of view, where and it understands, not like, man, he's cutting that, I'm not watching him anymore, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, for a while here, probably starting next week, I'm going to probably be doing 4 episodes a week, I think, or four videos a week. I should put it that way. And what I think I'm going to be doing is 2 episodes of the Let's Play series for Space Engineers, 1 episode of the Space Engineers Inspiration series, and then I might start bringing back an episode of the Let's Build every week. And I'm going to see how that does for a while. Now, in between there, this also gives me more time to work on some of my other projects. I'm really frustrated with the progress that I've made both on my book and Dog Squad, because they're both in good places, but they're not getting done. And like I said, I keep noticing just how much time and energy, like I feel tired and don't feel like working on some of these projects, because most of my work week in my week is tied up in my episodes. And so there's just these other side projects that I have that I think they're good ideas, but they're just, you guys aren't even seeing them to tell me whether you enjoy them or whether they're good ideas or not, because I'm not getting them done. And the truth is, nobody else is going to do them, so I just got to do them. And the only way I can is to free up some more time and be able to dedicate some more focus to it. And I feel like this will be a two birds, one stone, in that it'll give me more time to work on things, but it will also allow me to maximize the interests of my channel, which seems to generally be focused on Space Engineers right now. So if I can maximize that and switch over and start making more Space Engineers content, I could improve my viewership and my subscribers and other things and grow my channel while I'm also giving myself more time. So it's kind of a win-win in that regard. And like I said, bear that in mind that, at a certain point when I'm a little more comfortable and I don't have to kind of work so hard at it, I'm not saying that I won't come back and start playing a bunch. I'm an avid gamer. I play all kinds of things. Anywhere from The Sims and, well, I don't play The Sims as much anymore, but you get the point. 2 Point Hospital, Sims, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Sim City, those kinds of games, all the way up to Call of Duty, all the way to Halo, to Dog Squad. Not Dog Squad. I wish, right? I wish I was playing my Dog Squad game. No, not Dog Squad. What was I thinking of? Dark Souls. They both start with a D. They're close. But I just had an idea. I'm not going to say anything about that. Some of you may know where I'm thinking. Some of you don't. That could be really funny. Anyways, but yeah, so that, I play all kinds of stuff. And I have this habit of kind of like everything I play that I think is fun and cool, I go, ooh, that would make a good series. And I end up filling up my schedule with a bunch of series that then when I'm really looking at the views, even though the comments and stuff are, yeah, we like this, the viewership just isn't really that strong. And unfortunately, as much as I enjoy making some of these content pieces of video and stuff like that, the fact of the matter is, until I'm in a better place where I can afford to do something just for the heck of it, I kind of have to look at what's working, and unfortunately, not a lot has been working lately. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. I hope you guys can understand, and I'm sure some of you do. Some of you might already be commenting, "It's fine, it's cool, whatever," and I appreciate it. I really do. It makes me feel better, knowing you guys aren't like livid about some things when I make changes or something. It does help. That's the idea, though. That's my idea for a schedule at the moment, and I'll probably be making that a bit more solidified and stuff like that. And another project that I really need to work on is my website. I had an email from Google, I think a week ago or so, that said, hey, you've had 300 and some visitors to your website. And I went, dang, I'm sorry. Because my site is terrible. I will be the first to tell you that. I've told you guys before, for a while there, I looked into and taught myself kind of how to do web development, and I've done a couple sites for a couple people that needed pages done and things. So I know how to build a web page, and when I go back and I look at my Weebly template one, I just go, ugh. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's not even responsive anymore. So, yeah, if you've been to my site recently, I'm sorry. You guys might notice I don't direct a lot of people to my site. I don't go, hey, check out my website where you can see the new schedule. No, I don't want people going there right now. It's terrible. So hopefully I can change that. Again, more time, more projects, more progress is I feel like that should be a poster on my wall somewhere. More time, more projects, more progress. But so yeah, that's another thing. And I'm hoping to take a little bit of time, and I already did. For some of you, you already know this. I went through and reworked my Patreon page significantly, added more reward tiers and stuff like that. And I've had a couple more people sign up for Patreon, which I really appreciate. Enough that I'm kind of kicking myself because one of the entry tier things, it's like $1 or more, is a Discord channel where you can chat with other patrons and you can talk to me and stuff like that. And I haven't set it up yet. So if you were wondering where that was, yeah, you're not missing anything. It's not there. So that's another thing on my list of things I need to take care of. And like I said, most of my work time goes to my episodes. So yeah, it's just kind of trying to make more of an effort, I suppose, and take some more time and kind of polish things up and make things a little nicer, make things more productive. And so you guys can enjoy them. It's like, I'm sure you guys would like the Discord thing since you're part of Patreon. Now I will say I'm very appreciative. You guys really don't know how much when I hear people say stuff like, I think it's cool that you're giving us benefits for being patrons, but we were kind of just doing it to support you and stuff. That's awesome. Like, truly, that is awesome of you guys. I love that. I do feel like if you're paying a content creator and helping support them, that you should get something out of it, some kind of recognition for it. But yeah, and there's even ideas that I have in the back burner, again, that hopefully some of these classes and things that I'm taking will help me figure out exactly the current and easiest way to do it and maintain it and things. But I've even thought about doing some kind of merchandise store where there's t-shirts or hats or things like that. And I've got to look into some of that stuff and see exactly what the best way is, who the best manufacturer, I know there's stuff like Teespring and some other ones that kind of like do it as needed and stuff, but because there's other ones, it's kind of looking into what's the best way to set them up to where it's convenient for you guys, but easier for me to run and all that kind of stuff. But it's coming. Those are things. That's why I said I'm in a transition period. I think you're going to see a lot of changes between now and next year. Hopefully the beginning, like January of next year. But if not before, like a year from now, I'm hoping that there will be a significant amount of changes to both the channel, the brand, all that kind of stuff. And I'll probably even be taking some time to work on a new logo as well. Not logo per se, I still like my SKS stuff and things, but as far as intros and designs and things, because I went back and looked at some of my old stuff, and as well as some other YouTubers that I watch that I look up to and things like that, and I'm like, yeah, I think I made more of a movie intro. That's why you might have noticed I shortened it as much as I could, but it still looks kind of shortened. It's not really the same effect that I was going for. But I kind of made a movie logo, which is true, because I kind of tried to copy the actual Matrix logo, which is a movie. So, wonder how that happened. How'd you end up with a movie logo? Or movie intro? So yeah, all things that are in the pipeline, all things that I'm working on. I'm hoping to make a lot more progress on my book in the next coming months. Again, you guys know how much I hate putting down concrete dates for anything, because so often they don't end up actually happening on those dates. But I'm hoping that my book can be ready to go somewhere by the end of the year, beginning of next year, or somewhere in there is my hope. I wouldn't hold me to it, because who knows? But yeah, so that's kind of what's sparking this transition type thing. Another thing that I'm going to be working on, and it's going to be a little bit erratic in its release schedule because I don't want to make the same mistakes I made with the other one, but I'm going to be redoing my programming series for space engineers. I've noticed, I went back through some of my analytics and realized that the first episode, the basics, is the #1 viewed video on my channel. Period. Now, granted, it's been out for a while, so it's had time to build up more views and things like that, but still, as far as when you go look for something, that's the #1 viewed video on my channel in terms of numbers of views, or number of views. And I was very surprised to find that when you just look up space engineers like programming, programmable block, or programmable block, stuff like that, it's like one of the #1 results that comes up. It's like the second or third or something. And it's actually third or fourth highest viewed video under that search category. So I was very surprised by all that. I was like, holy crap. So again, looking at what works, and I've even had comments on it last week. I think somebody commented on that episode. So, and I went back and watched it, and it's terrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. And I think the biggest problem with it was that I always envisioned it as a let's code. And what I mean by that is essentially the way you would tackle a let's play. It's, I'm going to try and code this, you're going to see me do it, we can do this together, that kind of thing. And on paper it worked in terms of the idea, but I think too many people were actually looking at it as a tutorial. Like, I came here to find out how to do this. And I didn't really set it up that way, which caused it to not get received well in terms of feedback. View count is there, but positivity, it was kind of mixed. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it was still kind of mixed. And I think that's a mistake that I want to rectify with 102. And I started doing that at one point, but I didn't really have a whole lot of a plan or a structure of where to go with it, nor was I dedicating much time to it, because... yeah, you guessed it. I was putting too much time into my regular episodes. So you can kind of see the recurring problem here. I have ideas for other high concept projects and other things that could be really entertaining and you guys really might like, but they're not getting worked on. So yeah. The programming series should be coming out fairly soon, like within the next month or two, hopefully. And I'm wrestling with a couple different ideas in terms of, I don't know whether I should try and push the basic principles into one long episode with just timestamps dividing it. Should I break each concept down into a separate video? You know, those kinds of things. And I'm kind of rolling around ideas in my head. But the general idea is the first few episodes of it would be kind of like I did before, but a more thorough, cleaner, more concise, broken down version of the basics, where the actual episode, the basics on Programming 101, was very disorganized, very haphazard, and it was very bloated. There was a lot of thinking and hem-hawing and things that didn't really need to be in there. Again, I wasn't coming at it from a tutorial or a teaching standpoint. I was thinking of it as I'm just doing this like I would normally do my Let's Plays. But after seeing the reaction to it and seeing the view count and seeing the search terms and all that kind of stuff, I'm realizing that it would have been so much better to do it as just a tutorial series, which is what I'm planning on doing now, with 102. And some of you, like I said, you might remember I put the nanite script stuff to 102. I'm either going to leave that one and push it into the back of the playlist, or I'm going to get rid of that and do a different one, because again, it's also focused on a modded build. It's not something that you can do in vanilla, so on and so forth. So it just, I'm not sure about it. So we'll see how that goes, but that's another project that I'm working on in the background, is kind of revitalizing, reviving, whatever word you want to use. Reinventing is probably a better one. Of my Space Engineers programming series, and I'm actually working on a script of redoing the power script that I did before, the power display, and kind of adding some features to it, making it a bit more robust, and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. And that should be done or started. I should start that in a couple of months, probably, if not before. Like, I'm thinking at most within a month or two. But it'll probably be within the next couple of weeks if I can really get my butt in gear and work on it. The other thing that I intend to do is leave that a bit open to viewer feedback in terms of what the next script is about, kind of thing. Like, if you guys would want to see, I don't know, the two that come to mind the most is some kind of, like, the power display, inventory management. One thing that I'm going to be working on is a survival script, and I don't want to give anything too much away, but it'll be a script that's more geared towards survival play, which is something I don't see very often, so I'm hoping that, because I don't want to really, like, reinvent the wheel. I mean, there's some, like, when it comes to LCDs and stuff like that, there's M Master's stuff. He's got 2 different scripts on it, and they're phenomenal. I mean, let's just get that out of the way. So trying to do the same exact thing is kind of a moot point. It's like, why? trying to do something similar but a little different, that's different, you know, and that's what I'm trying to kind of do is focus on things that I'd like to do, or my way of doing it. So that's one reason I said leaving it to viewer feedback, is because I'm thinking of doing something to where at the end of a script episode or something, you guys could like comment or message me or something saying this is a feature that I've always wished I could do, but I haven't found a script for it in the workshop, that kind of thing. And then I could actually try and tackle some of you guys' ideas for things that you can't find and maybe no one else is working on. So that's an idea that I had too. And go ahead and leave, if you're watching this and you're hearing that and going, yeah, I had an idea, go ahead and leave me a comment or a message or something, because I can already start working on planning it. Even if I'm not to that point yet where I'm going to make a video on it, I can always start working out how I'm going to work on it. Or how I'm going to try and tackle it. So that kind of stuff. With one caveat about that is, don't expect too much of me if it comes to AI things. And what I mean by that is, I want a drone that can fly around, build a Death Star when I tell it, I fed it a JPEG picture and it'll just know how to build a Death Star. No. I won't say never, but I know my own limitations, and I'm not that great yet at drone programming. I'd like to be. That's one of the things that I want to do with the series, as well as it helps me improve myself when I have to try and tackle things. So you can give me those suggestions. You can suggest some kind of drone script. Just don't hold your breath for me actually doing it right away. I'll get to it eventually. But so yeah, so that's some other things that are going on in terms of projects behind the scenes. I'm also trying to work on possibly doing some 3D animated stuff with Dog Squad. Not necessarily season 2, because season 2 of the machinima is going to be a bit longer. I was gonna... I can't talk apparently. I was going to say it's gonna be a bit longer and then lengthy at the same time. And somehow that got mixed up and it came out longer. But yeah, season 2 is going to be much more involved than season 1 was. And so part of what's taking it so long to get produced is the length that... spoiler alert, little tidbit for those of you that are still interested in some of the Dog Squad production whatnots. There's going to be 15 episodes. So we had 5... in the first season. We had 10 episodes of Yeda, and for those of you that weren't aware, Yeda was basically an improv series that Caden and I did, where we had a theme for the episode, and then we kind of just improv'd all of the dialogue. We didn't really write scripts for that series. So that one was easier and faster to produce because it was essentially done as a sitcom. It was like, here's a camera, 2 characters talking, go. And we just made up stuff for 10 minutes, and then we were done. So it was much faster to produce that series, but we did do more episodes than we did for Dog Squad. But now coming into season 2, I wanted to go a little bit bigger, so Dog Squad season 2 will have 15 episodes, which is part of the production time. It's part of what's taking so long to get it produced, is the time that we do finally get together and like, okay, we're going to work on it. We have to try and work on 15 episodes worth of stuff. So it just takes more meetings, more meetups, more time, etc. So, you know, in case you were wondering why it's taking so long, that's why. On top of all the scheduling, timing, and availability issues that me and Caden and the others involved have had. So there is that. But there's some other shorter things, like shorts. Not necessarily even shorts, but a couple other smaller ideas that we've thought about doing that we thought would be cool to do in 3D. And so I've been working on modeling a character. I think I've got the model kind of where I want it for the most part. I'm not 100% sold on it yet. By the way, if any of you are 3D modelers out there that are watching this, or fans, subscribers, patrons, whatever, any of you that do 3D modeling, I could really use help, actually. Unfortunately, like I said, given the whole financial situation, I'm not in a spot where I could actually, like, hire someone. But if you're satisfied with getting your names in the credits of the production, then definitely shoot me a message, a comment, email, whatever, because I could definitely use some assistance. I do decent with 3D modeling. You guys have seen some of my 3D stuff when I do my intros and things. But when it comes to organics, people, creatures, animals, whatever, not that great at it. And the part that I'm really having a problem with at this point is rigging. That I've made the model, and I think the model will work. I think it looks okay for the production value and stuff that I'm going for what I want it to look like. But I'm trying to get it rigged, and the bones, I understand, like I get the bones set up, but the weight painting is a pain in my butt. So anybody that's familiar with weight painting, thinks they can do it or something, let me know, because you probably can do it better than I can, and you would probably speed things up. But like I said, just keep in mind it's not probably going to be a paying position. But so yeah, stuff like that. But all of that, those kinds of things, all those projects in the background, they're just kind of sitting here staring me in the face, not getting done. And I think you guys might actually enjoy them more than some of these series that I'm putting out that aren't really doing very well. So with that said, I think we're actually, again, Stationeers and No Man's Sky is in a bit of a limbo at the moment. I don't really know where those two are going to end up yet. I'm going to, hopefully this podcast is going to go up about Tuesday. So I've recorded final episodes for most everything, or I'm going to. So I'm hoping to see how those results work and see what everybody's feedback and stuff is on those kinds of things. So Stationeers and No Man's Sky is going to kind of depend on how they do in this next week or so, and telling me kind of, was some of their productivity a fluke, or are they actually producing a decent response? But the rest of it's probably going to go, and I think more than likely those two will probably end up going as well, at least for a couple weeks. Now, if I try it in a couple of my new series, like with the Space Engineers, if the Let's Build one or stuff like that isn't producing as much as I'm hoping, that I might kind of filter back on some of those and add a couple more of the other ones back in. Like I said, please bear with me, because it is going to be a transitionary period over the next few months. I'm going to be playing around with my schedule fairly frequently. Not frequently, but like every couple of weeks or something, I'll be reassessing how is things doing, what could I do to improve it, stuff like that. So if you're noticing a lot of changes going on, transition period. That's all I have to say. Like I hope you guys can bear with me while I kind of get a bit of a better footing on where I really want to stick my effort and focus kind of thing on. But more than likely the overall schedule starting next week will probably end up being 2 episodes of the Let's Play, an episode of the Inspiration, and an episode of a Let's Build series is probably going to be, I think, the next thing. Now, as far as what days, I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll probably mention that in my next Space Engineers Let's Play video. I'm not sure. Or I might do a separate, just quick announcement thing or something like that. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm thinking it'll be somewhere alternating, like Monday, what would that be? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, either that or something like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, something, somewhere in there, something like that. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. So I thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you guys later. Peace.